March 18th, 2021. Please be advised that this open meeting is being broadcast live, recorded by WRPS for playback on demand within 24 hours of this event at wrpsrockland.com. Thank you. Attending tonight's meeting, myself, Chuck Hession, Dave Taylor, Robin Day, Doug Lapp, Elizabeth Zaleski, Stacy Callahan, Attorney Chris Kenny, and WRPS Chris Vernica.
Make a motion to open the meeting.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, on number one, on the agenda, the Enterprise Fund, the Stabilization Fund, vote.
Walter, did you want us to say anything as an intro, or did you want to just get right to it? I mean, we're happy to go over the articles and then you can give us all your feedback and comments. Would that be helpful?
Well, I read everything on it, but I
However you want to do it.
understand what the fund is. And even the stabilization, that's one Chuck had a question on. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm all for the enterprise fund, but at this time, I'd vote no on the stabilization fund. I was reading under Title 7, Chapter 40 on 5B. There's one sentence that has me concerned, and I want to investigate it further. It states that at any time of creating any stabilization fund, the city, town, or district shall specify and at any time later may alter the purpose of that fund, which may be for any lawful purposes, including without limitation, school projects, yada, yada.
Clarification on that, Chuck, that can only be done by vote of legislative body. So it's not as though the town can arbitrarily go out and change what we can do with that funding. That would have to be voted, and Chris, correct me if I'm wrong, this would have to be voted by the legislative body, which is town meeting. So we can't just arbitrarily go and take it away.
Okay, and Elizabeth, please, I respect what you're saying, but I'm still not comfortable that those funds could be adjusted. I am all for the enterprise fund. If the stabilization fund is really required, we could do it at a special meeting or at another time. I don't know how Walter feels on that, but I feel the way funds are so tight with this COVID, the budget impact that it's had in general, I really don't want to risk the putting sewer funds to something that can be tapped into for another project. And I'll be specific. I'm thinking of that school project with the cost of raw materials. I just don't see how it can come in at the figure it was stated. And it's through no fault of anyone but the economy. So I'm very hesitant, and at this time I'd vote no on the stabilization.
So do you have a 50-50 split, Mr. Simmons, Mr. Hession?
I was going to vote yes on both.
So you have a 50-50 split?
Mm-hmm.
So
Again, I vote yes for the enterprise, no on the stabilization.
correct. So legally, would we be required to table the motion on the stabilization fund, Article 7, and table the motion on Article 40?
What's Article 40?
That's
There's
money.
the $100,000 to fund the stabilization.
Yeah, I think what they're saying is, so we're going to pull those two from the warrant because they're not supporting it yet. So
Correct.
there were two articles, Chuck. The first one was to create the stabilization fund, and then later was to put some of your money into the.
Yeah, I follow that.
So if we're not going to create it, we're not going to put any money into it. So
Okay.
we'll
Please understand my hesitancy with this economy right now.
it's fine. It's fine. We can always do it later.
Okay.
Okay.
But I'm floored that we haven't done that enterprise fund sooner. That to me is just so easy. It's such a no-brainer.
Right. We agree.
Can I just interject, please? No one made a motion to actually vote. You only had a discussion. So does someone want to make a motion to vote on the enterprise fund and the stabilization fund?
Sure, I'll make the motion. I'll make the motion that we accept the sewer enterprise fund article. I don't have numbers.
It doesn't matter on the article, just saying the enterprise fund will work.
Okay, I vote that we establish the sewer enterprise fund. I make a motion to do that. Walter, you second?
On the enterprise fund, and I'll also make a motion on the stabilization fund.
To
Okay,
accept
they're
it,
two separate lineups. One, we vote on the enterprise fund, which I am yes on the enterprise fund.
And I believe Walter seconded that.
I second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I make a motion that we deny the establishment of a stabilization fund. And I think we're going to be stalemated with that.
Yeah.
So we'll table that.
Table it, yep.
You want to move on to the articles, Doug?
Sure. So the next article is just going to be your operating budget, which, Biz can certainly speak to it. Yeah, I don't, that's not an article, a normal capital article. So I assume you're going to vote to support your budget.
I'll make a motion. We support the budget as presented.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great. So then we're going to pass over the article to put money into the stabilization, since you were not going to create that at this time. So then the next article is the one that, as initially drafted, was going to appropriate $300,000 into a sewer system evaluation study. And I think, Chuck, I understand that you have some changes.
Yes, because in that article, it mentions a sewer system evaluation study, which is a total separate animal from that study. And I don't want to be misleading. I would rather have that, instead of sewer system evaluation study, go specifically to the comprehensive wastewater management plan, CWMP.
Yep, okay.
if I may, the language has been rewritten just shortly before this meeting. So if I can read it, Mr. Lapp?
Yeah, do you want to share, do you want to share your screen, Biz? and see if-
Sure.
see if this works?
I share my screen all the time with myself, so it should come up with any luck. Okay, let's see. So you see my screen. You see in the red here, all of you, where it says Article 41 on the right-hand side of the screen. In red, it says, will the town vote to authorize the sewer commission to take from the sewer department unreserved fund account balance the sum of $300,000 for the completion of a comprehensive wastewater management plan, CWMP, or take any other action relative thereto? And that is the suggested language.
Okay, that
And-
looks fine to me. But just one question for Dave.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Dave, you don't want to take 100 out of that and put it towards the pump stations?
No. I mean, like I explained on that last article, which I can explain on the I&I, we will still have the 300 with a combined I&I and the rollover from this year, and also the budgetary I&I. You're talking with Wright Pierce, it's gonna go over it will go over the 200. It'll be between the 2 and 3, and there will be additional engineering that need to be done with that. So that's why we put in for the 300. We can always give it back into the fund, hence the enterprise fund. So
Okay, because what I was hoping to do is write some of that myself, or with the new superintendent, to chop that
Yeah.
amount down. But
no, I
as
had
it's
a
written-
meeting with Wright Pierce, and we discussed it this week, and they agreed it would be between the $200,000 and $300,000 range for the next phase of the wastewater treatment plant evaluation and moving forward. And then at CWMP that they've been talking about. So that's I think we're all in agreement. That's the next phase. So
Okay, as written, I accept that. I
Okay,
make a motion, we accept, what was that, 41, Elizabeth?
41.
it's Article 41. The numbers will change. Just be aware the numbers will change because we just took out 2 articles. So don't be dependent on the article number. Be dependent on the article language.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
I make a motion, we accept Article
I'll second
41.
it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great. The next article, as you guys were just talking about, was the $100,000 for the pump and injector stations.
you want me to go over that a little bit? I mean, just to touch base on that. So it's broad language. Again, Elizabeth and I discussed it. That does cover all the pumps out in the field at our pump stations, injector stations, and also covers our pumps at the wastewater treatment plant. So the language is broad where we'll cover a couple different areas.
And to Dave's point, if you make your language too restrictive, you can't spend for other things that may come up during this process should you have a problem.
No,
So
I
this
understand.
allows you the flexibility.
I understand. Thank you for that explanation.
Mhm.
I make a motion, we accept the article to 42, Elizabeth.
Okay, article number, not in use, but the wording of the article by the sewer commissioners has been approved.
Okay, I make a motion, we accept the article as written.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great. All right. Then the last one is the this is what Dave was just referring to, the $100,000 for the I&I work as required by permits.
And
Doug, I know,
that, Chuck, just so I know you were looking for more money. So what happens with that is this the 100,000 that we'll be looking for in the new fiscal year. We still have money left over from the last fiscal year, knowing that we would have a new superintendent. So will we be carrying that over? And we also have in our budgetary item in I&I. So that will give you your close
Oh,
to your
that's great.
300,000.
no, that's great, Dave, because I thought that money would have to go into a general fund, but I guess that's why we're establishing the enterprise.
Exactly.
That, yes,
It-
that's exactly
No,
why
that's
it's there.
great.
It
No.
would have stayed in your fund anyway. It never would have left under the direction of the sewer department. It would never, ever come to the general fund.
Oh,
It
well,
hasn't in the past. So in the future, it wouldn't as well. I just want to be clear.
Yeah,
that's great.
if I will, that's the reason that Elizabeth had found out on the enterprise fund is because it is a Department of Revenue. It is a compliancy thing. So the town did not have to do that over the last few years. So by them establishing the enterprise fund, it is now a requirement that they can do that. It's easier on the bookkeeping end for everybody, and then everything stays in-house at the sewer.
Yeah, like I said, Dave, I'm just floored. We haven't done that before. It's so to
Yeah.
me, it's perfect.
I think it's just something that Elizabeth caught and then brought up and makes sense. I mean, the water department did it a week or two ago as well, so.
So I make a motion that the commission give Elizabeth an attaboy or an attagirl.
Well, it's also with Doug Lapp, the town administrator. We
Okay.
try very hard to stay in a team atmosphere here. So we all work together to achieve the goals.
No, everything I've read on it is fantastic. So I think it would be a plus.
Thank you.
I don't think you actually voted that last article yet.
Oh,
No.
I make a motion, we accept the last article as worded.
Article 43. I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
That's great. I wish everything was this easy. That's perfect. I think we got them all. We got everything done, right, Biz? We're all set?
Yes, as far as I know, everything's done.
Elizabeth, can I ask you one more favor? If you have any more, or can direct me to any more literature on the stabilization, like they said, I understand the other one fairly comfortable with it, but the other one, I just want to make sure.
There are several different types of stabilization funds.
That's the one that's pertaining to us.
Right. And it would be a general stabilization fund for the sewer department, which is very similar in process to the stabilization fund that's set up for the town. But in order to get money out of your stabilization fund, there would have to be, I believe, and Chris, correct me if I'm wrong, a 2/3 vote at town meeting to approve any changes to that fund. It's not an arbitrary process. It's very regulated. And that money only stays with you as the body on this fund with the enterprise. The water department's doing exactly the same thing. And the reason they're doing it, the reason we're recommending it for the sewer department as well, is you both have a lot of capital improvements and studies that are going to be coming down in the next couple of years. So we're trying to create a savings account for you to tap into when you have issues that have to be addressed. And that's the point of this. It's not for any other purpose whatsoever.
Okay.
But Chuck, to answer your question, we can get you some additional written documentation from the DOR that'll help.
Yeah,
explain.
just refer me to a website because
Will.
I've been scratch and look for it. All right, thank you very much, guys.
All right,
Here's your
thank you.
website.
Thank
I'll
you.
give them the website.
Yep. All right.
It's
Thank you. Bye-bye.
mass.gov/DLS.
What was that last? What?
D as in David, L as in Larry, S as in Stacy,
Yep.
and then type in general purpose stabilization fund. And that
All
will
one
give
word.
you, yep. Yeah, well, it's a website, so type it like you would say it, spaces.
Okay, thank you very
And
much.
that should help you get what you need.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
you're welcome.
Thank you.
Well, I'll open superintendent candidate vote. I'm sticking with my vote for Keith. I think he's the right choice, and
Well, I kind of went over my review of it, and what sold me on my vote was, I think the town is going to do well with Brian, as he has his engineering degree. And I think from day one, Chuck had mentioned that it'd be good to have a superintendent. And that was one of your, before we even advertised for a superintendent, you thought it'd be great to have a superintendent that had an engineering degree. And not only that, he doesn't just draw up his plans and everything and for engineering jobs down in Hull. And that's his only job, sewer. That's another thing. I know Keith, he's a busy man. And he has to take care of 2 or 3 different departments, where Ryan is just all sewer. And he has saved the town money down in Hull. And I think he'd be an asset to Rockland. So I'm going to stay with my vote, I guess, and we'll see what happens from here.
oh, Walter, I respect your comments. I really do. That's not a snow job. Again, I was looking at the years of municipal service. I was looking at the grant fund, which we are so desperately going to need. And look, I'm gonna ask you. I'm gonna ask you for your support on this one. All right. I don't know if you're on the ballot or not again next month. If you're not, I'd like to at least start fresh. I'd like to go with this guy, Keith. I'm going the waiver between the two. If I had to go, he's got more years municipal experience, which is big. Where Brian was more consulting at its theory that time. Yes, he's got a degree in engineering. I think Keith did as well. But the hands-on is a big thing. But boy, you cannot cut short that grant money. That money is going to be so tight in this economy. And one thing I can assure you, that his contract will be written to such that I hope that with Chris's input, the structure around goals and objectives, I have no problem whatsoever letting someone go if they don't cut the mustard. We really are desperately going to need that grant money, Walter. You know yourself, being in construction, look at the price of raw material. In the end, you want to throw the school in. Yeah, I think they're going to be behind the 8 ball. I just don't see how they could possibly bring that in at the budget they started. So I would like to stay with Keith, and I'd like to ask your support on that as we go forward. As I would like it as a favor, and I'd like it thinking of the sewer department. And again, I have no problem if the gentleman cannot cut it, recommending we let him go. Unfortunately, I've had to do it in the past. I mean, it stinks, it sucks, it's cruel, but it's the name of the game. Walter, I'd really like your support on this one, please.
Well, I'm going to have to go over this again and see what I can get out of it. And I won't.
Well, to think long and hard about it, that's all I can. We have a meeting next week.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I got to talk to you about that meeting anyway. Chris, is there any way, or is it a violation of the open meeting law if Walter and I meet for coffee and talk about it?
No, you can't. Yeah, that's an open
Okay,
meeting.
okay, no, that's all I wanted to hear. No, no more. Walter, all I can ask of you is to please think it over. Okay.
Okay.
One thing I'd like to bring up, and Chris, you gotta step in and tell me if I can't or it's not on the agenda,
Okay.
okay? There was a contact from the EPA that Dave made us aware of. Can we discuss that briefly and know where it's not on the agenda?
Yeah, I would just put it on the agenda for the next meeting.
All right, Walter, can we get that on?
Pardon?
I guess I don't know if you saw the email, the EPA contacted Dave early February. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to see what documents they required because Chris, you're gonna have to help me out here because I may say something really wrong or put my foot in the mouth. If these people ask for information, I want to make sure we don't give them more than we should.
Okay. I mean, yeah, I would just, like I said, I just table it.
All right, let's table it.
You know, I just tabled, I wouldn't want to go into too much here.
No, I don't want to.
Notice, so, just so the public is aware that we're going to, that's an issue to be discussed. So yeah, no, I think and you can certainly, you can reach out to me individually, after the meeting.
No, the only thing I want to do is I want to see a list of what they asked for. And I'd like to share with some past experience that I've had with them, especially if it was from compliance.
Okay.
So that's all I want to make sure that, no, nothing else, Walter. That's the only thing. I just want to see what they asked for. I don't like dealing with them at all. So with that, Walter, thanks for at least considering that. And I make a motion, we end the meeting.
Second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.